as the economy faces significant headwinds, a national shutdown will set the country's economy back even further. Consumers are constrained and businesses continue to struggle to stay afloat. Now, what will this national shutdown do besides worsen the plights of businesses and households in the country? Joining me now to unpack the implications is independent economist Professor Bonke Dumisa. Prof, thank you as always for joining us on eNCA. Let's start with those immediate implications that we might see should we see that shutdown occur on Monday rather. Many businesses said to be closed for the day, and of course this will have a direct impact on economic activity.
That is quite true. If ever this national shutdown planned by the EFF is successful, then that will really negatively affect the South African economy. However, I think it is, and I'm not being ultra optimistic. If ever people can observe what has been happening over many years, if not decades, around the March 21 heritage, it's not Heritage Day, we used to call it Sharpeville Day. Many people choose to go home for that, and if ever they can extend that one into a long weekend, they do. On the 20th of March, it will be an ordinary business day, but the following day is a holiday. Under those circumstances, many South Africans actually go home or take an extended leave. And the same thing will happen on Monday. Yes, a number of businesses have said they want to close because of some threats that there may be violence if they don't open. But I believe that the assurance is being given by the police and the presidency and other entities is going to help so that the people who will choose to join that march will be joining there not because of fear, but they will be joining it because they believe on some of the points that were pointed out by Julius Malema, that is what they will be pushing for. But the last of those demands, I think, may actually be more negative for the EFF rather than pushing their cause, because some people who may agree with the things they've said about unemployment and electricity may be actually pushed back and discouraged by the last thing about the President Cyril Ramaphosa having to step down, and because that one then is absolute clear 2024 political campaigning. So in short, I'm saying yes, business will be affected, but I don't think to the extent that people believe it will be affected. Many businesses will be open, and anyway, with people taking leave on that day, there was going to be minimal business activity on Monday, the 20th of March 2023.
Let's reflect on those broad issues that the EFF are going to be marching against, Prof. The unemployment rate, the electricity crisis. Already we've seen some economists anticipate that even if we had no load shedding and that the economy was functioning, because of the deterioration that we've seen over the last few years, it wouldn't be able to grow any more than 1% at a maximum. So as an outlook for the year, and given all the headwinds that people are now putting their arms up against, what do you anticipate the economy is likely to look like in the medium term?
In the medium term, I expect the economy to worsen, as we saw with the third quarter results. Then we do believe then that with the last quarter results, yes, things may even worsen. And if ever they worsen, it will mean we have a technical recession in South Africa. And that word, even though it's said it's technical, scares many businesses. But let us cross that bridge when we we come to it. As for unemployment, I think it is really pure 2024 political campaigning, because we said it time and again that the unemployment rate in South Africa, it is actually decreasing, as the last one was at 32.7%. But it is highly unlikely to decrease significantly, because what we have in South Africa is a structural unemployment problem, which means our universities and even schools and TVETs are not producing the type of people who are going to be ready for the type of an economy that we have. So we end up with what we call a jobs mismatch. Most of the jobs which are on offer do not have many people who are skilled in filling those jobs. And that is where the youth, which has an unemployment rate of over 60%, is mostly affected. So it is just pure campaigning. If ever you start saying you are going to campaign for sorting out of the unemployment, and yet you are exposing many people to being affected by that very same much, because if ever there's no work, no pay, it means you're affecting even those who are really far lower down in terms of the income brackets. And how will they make up for that money? And some of them may actually be constructively dismissed because of participation in this. So the whole thing is contradictory, but
Yeah.
politics is politics.
Politics is politics indeed. Prof, you raised an important point that I wanted us to touch on, the technical recession that South Africa could find itself in as the quarters of growth are recorded in 2023. Is this something that the South African Reserve Bank or the Monetary Policy Committee will be looking at? We do know that they are set to sit in a couple of weeks or so. These developments definitely going to be perhaps informing the decision that they'll be making when it comes to the interest rate hike, and really how aggressive they might have to be to protect the value of the currency as well as targeting inflation.
When the Reserve Bank sits as it is now, we know that the Reserve Bank is very dogmatic when it comes to their only mandate about interest rates. But I think I can assure many people, not having any inside information, that they are highly unlikely to follow what they've been doing when they were raising interest rates so aggressively. The United States Federal Bank has set the pace then that we are no longer going to do these 100 basis points increases. We saw at the last time that the South African Reserve Bank avoided that 100 basis points. So we are likely to see what has happened in the USA, and there will be a repo rate increase. But I can bet, if ever we're betting, I would say I could bet that it would be only 25 basis points. And the reason why it will be there, it is because our inflation rate at 6.9% is still far above the midpoint of the South African Reserve Bank's inflation rate range, where they say if ever it's above the 3 to 6%, then we must increase the repo rate in order to discourage people taking more credit, which becomes inflationary.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Prof, for those insights this afternoon. Professor Bonke Dumisa, independent economist, just painting a picture on the likelihood of further economic downturn after the shutdown on Monday.